Hello students, welcome to Legacy IAS Academy. In today's video, we are going to discuss about the story of Kishwa. Kishwa is something which is a sacred cloth that is used to adorn and cover the Holy Kaaba that is situated in the Saudi Arabia, which is a place of religious significance for the followers of Islam. Now, why we are talking about this? Because recently in the Islamic Arts Biennial, that is 2025, is going to take place in the King Abdul Aziz International Airport situated in the Jeddah, and it is in this festival where the kiswa of the Holy Kaaba that was adorning it in the last year will be displayed. So as per the organizations, as per the organizers and authorities, it is for the first time that the full Kishwa will be displayed outside the holy city. Never in the past such kind of incident has taken place. Now, apart from the Kiswa, a remarkable collection of historical Islamic artifacts and contemporary artwork will also be displayed. The reason why this place is chosen, because obviously this is the area where most of the pilgrims who want to go to Makkah on the Hajj or Umrah, they come here. So obviously all of these people will be able to for the first time see in the public display the Islamic artifacts and all that. Now let us try to understand about the Kiswa. So Kiswa basically is an Arabic word that translates into robe. So Kiswa is something that is a kind of robe, as you can see from this particular picture. It is kind of black robe that is adorned with the verses from Quran, which is carved in kind of golden silver threads. So it covers the Kaaba. As you know that Kaaba is a cubical stone structure on the center of Masjid al-Haram in Makkah, which is the holiest site in Islam. So the Kiswa and its unique inscriptions and ornamentations are also considered to be the highest form of creative productions in the Islamic art, and it enables visitors to admire intricate weaving and embroidery featuring silk, gold and silver thread, and that is why this decision has been taken. Now, if we talk about the Kiswa, it is not that the same Kiswa is used every year. Rather, every year what happens is old Kiswa is removed and new Kiswa is put over the holy shrine, and then the old Kiswa remains in the government control somewhere in the we can say in the museums and all. Now, if you try to trace the history of the Kiswa, interestingly, it dates back to centuries old tradition, even going back to the pre-Islamic era. And as per the record, it is believed that the first time it was the king of Humayur. Humayur is a place in the Yemen. The king was called as Tabu Karab Aswad. He was the first person who has put Kishwa on the holy shrine that we can see from here. And after the conquest of Mecca, somewhere in the 629 to 630 common era, then the Prophet Muhammad covered the Kaaba with the Yemeni cloth. So overall the tradition began in the pre-Islamic time but has continued since then without any interruption till today. Now, as per the report published by the Saudi Daily Arab News, it is believed that the Prophet kept the old Kiswa used in the era of polytheist. We know that before the arrival of Islam in the Arabian Peninsula, people were following multiple gods. They were believing in the multiple gods, several gods. So they were called as polytheists. So he has kept the same Kiswa that was used during the time of polytheist in the Arabia and did not replace it. However, it has to be replaced later because accidentally a woman was trying to scent it with the incense sticks, and that is when the Kiswa caught fire and got burned. So then it was covered with a new cloth, that was the Yemeni cloth. Now, interestingly, if you look at that particular cloth, at that time, in the era of Prophet Muhammad, that time Kishwa was not black as we see today. Rather, it was the Yemeni cloth having two colors, that is red and white. So overall, what we can say that this is not the only color that has changed in from red and white to black, but rather several colors of Kiswa has been used historically. So its color have kept changing over the centuries. For example, if we try to take and try to go and look at the time of the Abbasid Caliphate, we know that it was a very large caliphate which covered entire Arabian Peninsula, extending all the way to northern Africa and then further to the West Asia as well. So during the Abbasid Caliphate time, Kiswa was once dropped in completely white. The Makkah, you can say, the shrine was draped in completely white Kiswa. Then one time in the red. On the other hand, we talk about the Seljuk Sultan period, then the yellow brocade was used here. So if we talk about the Abbasid Caliph Al-Nasir, he is believed to be the first one who has changed the color of Kiswa from the original white and red to the green color, and later then the black brocade was added, and this has remained its color to the present day. That means if we talk about the present Kiswa and its color, it can be traced back to the Abbasid Caliph Al Nasir, whose photograph basically we can see the AI render version of his photograph we can see from here. Now, if we try to understand about the Abbasid Caliphate, so Abbasid Caliphate ruled from the Kufa, Baghdad and Samarra. These were the three major centers of this caliphate system, situated in the Iraq, and it ruled over the Islamic world somewhere between 750 Common Era to 1258 Common Era. Similarly, the Turco-Persian Seljuk Empire, which changed the Kiswa color to the yellow brocade, they ranged from 1037 to 1194 Common Era. So, by the early 14th century, however, as per the record, it is believed that Egypt became the main center which provided the official Kiswa to be put on the shrine in the Mecca. And since then, Egypt for a very long period of time kept supplying the Kiswa, as it was the major center of production. Also, the Egyptian record shows that Kiswa was not sent like any daily item, rather it was sent in a venerable parade, where everywhere you can see that Kiswa is moving from the Egypt to the Arabia. It was carried by huge camels, and then you have a caravan of camels who are carrying the supplies such as luggages of the pilgrims, water, food, and all these kind of things. And they were also accompanied by soldiers to protect them throughout their journey till they reach Makkah. So that is how you can understand how significant, how important this journey was. As per the Egyptian legacy of producing the Kiswa report that was published by the government of Egypt, it is said that the camel that originally carried the Kiswa, it was called as Nabil. Nabil basically is an Arabic word for the noble. So obviously the camel that is carrying Kiswa is doing a noble work, and that is why he is referred as Nabil. The camel behind this particular camel, first camel, is called as Mabruk, which means the blessed one. So that is how the story goes. Now, somewhere in the 1960s, due to the political upheaval and changes in Egypt basically was not able to supply Kiswa, or many times there was interruption in the supplying of Kiswa to the Mecca. And that is why in the 1960s, the Saudi Arabian government decided that to ensure that there is no interruption in the manufacturing of Kiswa and its annual ritual of adorning it every year, that is not interrupted. So they decided that the production center will be placed in the Mecca itself. And since 1960s, Saudi Arabia itself, in the Mecca itself, the Kiswa is produced and then it is put there. So overall, if you look at the making of or manufacturing of this particular robe, it is weighing more than 1000 kilograms. The Kiswa of today is made up of silk, and as we have discussed, it is embroidered with silver and gold thread. Now, it is not a single piece of robe. Basically, the entire Kiswa comprises 4 sides. As we know, it is a kind of rectangular slab. So 4 sides, and then you have the door curtain, and takes almost a year to produce. And this is not done by few workers, rather it is more than 100 workers. For continuously 1 year they are working and solely focused on its embroidery, so that there is no error, so there is the quality is not compromised as far as the Kiswa is concerned. As per the recent report with the government, if you try to look at the materials used in the production of this robe, about 670 kg of raw silk, which is dyed in the black color, that is used here. Apart from the raw silk, then the 120 kilograms of gold threads are used, then about 100 kilogram of silver threads are used. So obviously, a lot of precious elements, precious materials are being used here. And at the same time, on the Kiswa, the Quran verses are sawed with the gold and silver threads as well. An example of this we can see from here, a part of the Kiswa that is being prepared by these producers here. Overall, the manufacturing of Kiswa passes through 10 different stages. The important one of them, first of all, is the sweetening of water. Sweetening of water is important because the water quality need to match the specific standard that is suitable for the washing and dyeing of the silk, so that the silk we can say cloth does not get any kind of damage. After the sweetening of the water, then next is the dyeing stage, where the protective wax layer is removed and then the silk is dyed by black color from the outside. That is what exactly you see from the outside of the Mecca. And then on the inner side, inner lining, you have a green color that also cover the Prophet's chamber. So that is the dyeing process. Then in a specialized dryer, then the entire kiswa is dried. Then it passes through the laboratory stage where the samples are tested to meet the approved standard, for example. And then it is followed by several other stages. And finally, the assembly stage is done where all the 4 kiswas along with the curtain is then brought together, and then it is assembled and put on the holy shrine. Now we try to understand the replacing of kiswa. So earlier the old kiswa is replaced annually on the first day of the first Muslim month of the Muharram. That is the general ritual here. And the removal, actually, for a long period of time, what the people used to do, they used to let the old kiswa remain on the shrine and then used to put the new kiswa. However, later on it was found that it is damaging the quality of the this stone itself, and that is why the government decided that we will remove the old one and put the new one every year. So every year from each wall of the holy Kaaba, individually all the kishwas and their we can say cloth are removed, then securing the 4 pieces together at the corners, and then beneath the Kaaba the pieces are secured. Then then there is an installation of the curtain of the Kaaba door. So these are the stages through which the old kiswa is replaced by the new one. And what happens to the old kiswa? So it is basically placed in the government warehouse that provide the adequate technical conservation to ensure that no damage happens to the cloth even after many years, so that bacterial infection or any kind of infection does not spread over the cloth. In 1983, for example, many time also what happens from the government warehouse, based on the decision taken by the Saudi Arabian government, the part of kiswa might be given as a gift to the other countries as well, or it can be displayed in the museums. So as we can see in the present case, for example. So in 1983, what we have seen is a part of kiswa was presented to the United Nations by the Saudi Arabia's ambassador to the UN, Sheikh Faisal Al Huzailan, and this is this particular part of kishwa that we see that is present in the UN headquarters. So that has been the overall tradition as far as this particular kiswa, the holy robe, is concerned. That is all about this particular video. I hope you got the gist of the kiswa and its sacredness and its significance for the Kaaba and all the Muslims on the world. Thank you very much.